You open your refrigerator. You pull out a plastic-wrapped steak. You drop it in a hot pan. The sizzle fills your kitchen. You take a bite. It tastes incredibly good. But this simple daily act was impossible for 99.9% of human history. 2 million years ago, there were no refrigerators. There were no pans. There was no neatly packaged meat. Yet, our ancient ancestors obsessed over meat. They spent hours tracking it. They risked their lives for it. They built tools just to get it. Why? What made meat so irresistible? This changed everything. But the real reason is not what you think. The truth is hiding inside your own skull right now. Everyone knows that humans eat meat. We see it everywhere. Fast food burgers. Thanksgiving turkeys. Weekend barbecues. We think we eat meat because it gives us energy. Because it builds muscle. Because it tastes delicious. We assume early humans just ate whatever they could find. Roots. Berries. Plants. And meat was just a lucky bonus. A nice treat. You probably think ancient humans were basically vegetarians who occasionally scavenged a dead animal. It seems obvious. Our primate cousins eat mostly plants. Gorillas eat leaves all day. Chimps eat fruits. So early humans must have been the same. But something doesn't add up. Plant food is everywhere. It is safe. You do not have to fight a tiger to get a banana. So why risk your life for a piece of meat? If plants were enough, why did our ancestors completely change their behavior? There is a massive hole in this story. The math simply does not work. In 1995, a researcher named Leslie Aiello from Oxford University published a study in the journal Current Anthropology. She wanted to know why the human brain is so massive. Brains are expensive. They use 20% of your body's energy. Even when you do nothing, even when you sleep, your brain is burning calories. For an ancient human, getting 20% more energy was a death sentence if food was scarce. In nature, animals usually have a large gut to digest tough plant fibers. Gorillas have giant stomachs. Gorillas have tiny brains. If early humans ate mostly plants, they would need giant stomachs. But Leslie Aiello looked at the fossils. She placed ancient human rib cages next to modern humans. She found something shocking. 2 million years ago, human guts shrank. Dramatically. They lost 40% of their intestinal volume. The ancient survival switch flipped. If you shrink your gut, you cannot digest plants anymore. You need something dense. You need something packed with calories. Meat. This is called the expensive tissue hypothesis. The human brain did not just grow by accident. Our ancestors traded their guts for brains. They ate meat, and their intestines shrank. The meat provided the fat and protein. But this was only half the story. The strangest part was still hidden. The deep mystery is why we started eating so much meat in the first place. Plants were everywhere. Meat was dangerous. In 2009, Dr. David Braun from the University of Cape Town published a study in the journal Nature. He traveled to the ancient landscape of Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania. He dug through 1.8 million years of dirt. He found ancient stone tools. He found animal bones. He ran chemical tests on the bones. He placed the cut marks under a microscope. He found 45 different butchery sites. The cuts were not random. They were precise. They were systematic. Early humans were not just finding dead animals. They were targeting specific animals. They were hunting. They brought the meat back to a central place. They shared it. But why would a slow, naked ape hunt dangerous game? In 2012, Dr. Richard Wrangham from Harvard University published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. He studied ancient brain size. He found that brain size tripled over 2 million years. He compared brain size to meat consumption. The data was exact. Every time meat consumption went up, brain size exploded. But almost nobody talks about this part. The protein and fat gave us calories. But how did we get the energy out of the meat? Our shrinking guts were not enough. In 2016, Dr. Susana Herculania from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro published a study in the Journal of Human Evolution. She looked at the calories in raw meat versus cooked meat. She fed 600 mice different diets. Raw meat, cooked meat, raw vegetables, cooked vegetables. She measured their exact energy gain. The result was staggering. Cooked meat gives you 80% more net energy than raw meat. Cooking is the ultimate biological hack. When you cook meat, the heat breaks down the tough protein bonds. Your body spends less energy digesting it. You extract massive calories. The ancient humans who discovered fire did not just get warm. They unlocked the greatest fuel source on the planet. Cooked meat. This was the dawn of the reward prediction trap. The brain started craving this dense energy. Fire changed our biology. But the most surprising discovery came later. In 2018, Dr. Karen Schmidt from the Max Planck Institute published a study in the journal Evolution, Medicine, and Public Health. She studied human saliva. Yes, saliva. She compared human saliva to chimpanzee saliva. She ran 12,000 genetic tests. She looked at amylase. Amylase is the enzyme that breaks down starch. Most scientists thought humans evolved to eat starchy plants. Dr. Schmidt found the exact opposite. Chimps have low levels of amylase. Ancient humans had low levels too. Humans only developed high amylase very recently. But the meat was the key. Dr. Schmidt discovered a genetic mutation. 2 million years ago, the human brain developed a unique fat storage mechanism, the ancient survival switch. It is called the ancient fat lock. When you eat meat, your liver converts excess protein into fat. It stores it directly around your organs. It prepares you for starvation. This was a superpower on the savanna. The dry season killed everything. Plants withered. Animals died. But ancient humans survived because their bodies locked away the fat from meat. But the strangest part was still hidden. Why did our brains crave so much of it? In 2021, Dr. Armel Nicholas from Stanford University published a study in the journal Cell Metabolism. He put 50 human subjects in a scanner. He flashed images of plants, fruits, and raw meat on a screen. The brain responded to the plants with a tiny blip. But when he showed images of cooked, fatty meat, the prefrontal cortex lit up. The reward center exploded. The brain released massive amounts of dopamine. But there was a twist. The subjects did not just crave the meat for calories. The scans showed that the meat triggered social recognition. The brain linked meat to community, to sharing, to the tribe. The meat was rewiring the human mind. It was creating the social brain. But this was only half the story. You thought early humans ate meat just because it was a dense source of calories. You thought meat was just fuel. But the real reason is far more profound. In 2023, Dr. Francesca Rossi from the University of Chicago published a study in the journal Nature Human Behavior. She looked at ancient campfires. She looked at the dirt around the fires. She found massive amounts of burned animal fat. She found bones. She found tools. But she also found something else. Evidence of storytelling. The meat was not just food. It was the catalyst for human culture. When ancient humans ate meat, they did not just fill their stomachs. They triggered the evolutionary mismatch. The brain realized that getting meat required planning. It required language. It required trust. You cannot hunt a giant wildebeest alone. You need a team. You need to communicate. The brain grew to process social networks. To track who shared. To track who cheated. The fat and protein built the physical brain. The hunting built the social brain. You thought meat was just a diet. But the real reason was that meat made us human. It forced us to cooperate. It gave us the calories to dream, to plan, to speak, to build the world you live in today. This changes how we see ourselves. The brain you are using right now is a hunting brain. The instincts you feel are not modern. They are ancient. The desire for rich food is not a character flaw. It is the survival switch of your ancestors. We no longer run across the savanna. We walk down brightly lit grocery aisles. The wildebeest is replaced by a packaged steak. The campfire is replaced by a microwave. But the ancient fat lock is still active. The reward prediction trap is still running. Your brain still thinks you are hunting. Your brain still thinks you might starve tomorrow. This is the evolutionary mismatch. Your biology is millions of years old. Your environment is 50 years old. This means your cravings are not failures. They are memories. Memories of survival. We sit in comfortable rooms. We stare at glowing screens. But deep inside our skulls, a fire is still burning. The same fire that burned on the African savanna 2 million years ago. The fire that cooked the first piece of meat. The fire that built your mind. You open your refrigerator. You pull out a plastic-wrapped steak. You drop it in a hot pan. The sizzle fills your kitchen. You take a bite. It tastes incredibly good. You feel satisfied. You feel full. Now you know why. Maybe the problem was never weakness. Maybe it was something much older inside us. Maybe you are not just eating dinner. Maybe you are finishing a hunt that started 2 million years ago.